Hi guys, Tiffany here. So I decided to take a break from the blocks. Wanted something to do, and sometimes when I don't get up and down, up and down, up and down, I choose a sit-down project, which is free motion quilting. And sometimes free motion quilting can be a little stressing and a little painful and, well, sometimes annoying. So I'm just going to mess around while you watch me. And maybe I'll explain some stuff too while I'm doing this, but I kind of just wanted to come on and I guess just, show you what I do. This is my quilting life anyway, so this is what I do. And this is what I do when I'm bored. I just choose something else to do when I don't feel like doing that same thing over and over and over, which was putting these blocks together for that disappearing four patch. Because 120 blocks is a lot of blocks to stand and sit constantly and do. So this is my break time, doing something different. So as you can see here, I have this lovely, it's like between a full and a queen. It doesn't hang over completely on a queen, but it does the job. And I started this pretty much almost 3 years ago, piecing it. And then I was going to attempt free motion back then, and I couldn't do it. So there's some straight stitch and a ditch in it and straight line quilting outside the ditch in some blocks. But this quilt has quite a few blocks. I actually haven't counted in a long time and I forgot, but every single block has something different in it. And when I feel like giving myself more practice for free motion quilting, this is my go-to project. And someday I'm going to run out of squares, and hopefully by then I will be amazing at what I do when it comes to quilting. I prefer to stand and quilt though. I'm 100% totally mid-arm, long arm. Mid-arm just means that it's a mid-sized machine, which would be this. Long arm, I'm 100% that instead. Even when I'm in my wheelchair and can't stand, my machine comes down to my height and I can quilt that way. So something about moving my hands on it for me. And this might help those who want to learn to free motion quilt, or those who don't mind, you know what I mean? You'll know because I'm able to explain to you whether it's fun or not. So this is my own personal interpretation of quilting. It gets frustrating. So we're going to start off by changing out. Why? Because you need to start with a free motion quilting foot. So I am going to, I should have put it all out, but it's kind of like right here in my way. I'm going to change out to, my machine is a Juki 20L, or TL 2010Q. Wow, I could not say that correctly. And it has, me not looking at the camera, ha ha ha, how funny. I'm going to adjust that real quick. I couldn't tell before I sat down if it was right or not, so sorry about that. Let's get this to, I want it to see me, but it sees quilting at the same time. I don't want you guys to not see me talking. It kind of looks funny, you know? And see me wrestling this thing around. It's not as heavy. This one's totally not as heavy as other quilts that I have done. This one has a nice 100% cotton batting. So yeah. Anyways, we are going to change out free motion quilting foot. And that is quite simple to do. Some of them you have to move the screw all the way out. But this one I don't. And I tighten mine down with a screwdriver because for some reason in free motion quilting, my foot gets wobbly on this machine specifically. So that is, if I was to do a review, that is one thing I don't like about this machine, is it's not tightened down. It does get wobbly. Secondly, these are our feed dogs down here. They really, really pokey things that look like teeth. Those need to go down. Most machines on the back side, you'll have a little lever that you can push one way, and it'll have a thing that shows you pokey teeth up and pokey teeth below the line. You want to switch it to the side with the pokey teeth below the line. Mine just so happens to be on the front of my machine with the same exact little picture. Pokey teeth above, pokey teeth below. I'm going to switch it to pokey teeth below, which drops the teeth all the way down. I just put a fresh bobbin in here, so I'm 100% okay with that. And the only other thing my machine does that some people's probably don't do, but if you have this model, up here is your pressure foot pressure gauge. You want that all the way lifted up, so you would turn it to the left, because it's lefty-loosey and righty-tighty. You would turn it to the left until your presser foot is all the way up. The little knot, oh, you can't even see it from there, but on the front side it has this little dial that shows me a blue line that goes down and up. That gives me pressure for the presser foot when I'm using these on how fast it's going to be pulling through. The pressure helps it pull through. If it's not on and there's no pressure, that means nothing is going to pull through. So make sure that you do that. And look, I'm still not in the screen picture. My daughter is at homecoming tonight, so I'm going to adjust this one more time. I don't like talking to the screen if you guys can't see my face, and I'm so sorry about that. Usually it's adjusted right away, but I wanted you guys to be able to see the quilting and what I'm doing at the same exact time. So hopefully this is good. I'm giving it a second to see how my angle is. And plus I need to sit more this way for free motion quilting. I need to sit directly in front of my machine. So I want to make sure that you can see me if I move my chair directly in front. Oh, such a slack between this and that. Oh, well, I'm waiting for it to, oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, you can see me now. This quilt has been basted with, what is it called? Oh my god, now I can't even think of the brand. It's a basting spray. It's not 505. It's a different one that I've been using for a really long time. It's a Walmart brand. It's the white with the pink on it bottle, or can, I mean. And this was basted with that, and then some pins as well, because, again, back then I was new to this. And all the pins have mostly come out, except for a few. But this thing is, like, seriously still stuck together, because it's never been washed, you know? And I fold it up and put it away every time. And so you can see some of my quilting here. I've been doing little things here and there on this, so there's some of it, if you can see. I don't know how well you can tell from down there. If I slide this in over here, you can probably see it better. So there's some of the quilting. Here's a straight line with a little circle. And I could show these because I'm probably just going to repeat the same quilting now through and through until I find something else I want to do. But for now, I'm just going to do some quilting. I have some lines here that were started when I was teaching some free motion, so I think I should just finish this little area off because it was started and it wasn't finished. So, alright, let's get started. First of all, you want to make sure that you are in a comfortable chair, comfortable position, something that keeps you comfortable, because you need to be during this or you're going to get tight tension in your shoulders, your neck is going to hurt and start aching. You want to be able to move around, but you also want to be able to see what you're doing in front of you. That is very, very important, and I have to cough, so excuse me. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, where was I? You want to make sure that your project is in, you don't want to reach out to your project. There's no way reaching out is any fun for your shoulders and your neck. You also don't want to be hunched over to it. That is also a big no-no. And if you need glasses or realize you need glasses by the time you get to your project because you're doing this and be like, definitely put your glasses on to see. You want to be able to sit a good distance, hand distance, but with some elbow, just a little bit of elbow bending, because you want to be able to bring it close to you and away from you. You want everything to move. Next, you will need if depending on your machine, you need your extension table. Now, if you have an old machine or a machine like a Brother, perhaps, that does not have an extension table option, and all you have is that little area, don't fret. You can actually work with that. It's a little bit harder, especially because there's no room outside right here for you to move your hand. The best recommendation is to get or have your husbands or boyfriends or somebody, or lovers and partners and so on, cut a hole into an old desk. You know, the kind of desk that has the pull-out tray for the keyboard? Cut a hole into that, keeping that keyboard part back, and drop the machine right into that hole, the size of your machine, leaving room obviously for your plugs and stuff. That is a very great idea just for a quick desk for learning, and it's very inexpensive because there's desks on the curbside a lot of these days, and you just can, to permanently keep that slide out tray from moving, you can have it screwed in somehow, you know, in the little thing. Just pop some screws in it, it'll never slide out again. So that's another idea. But definitely you need your table. One of my secrets is out there, and I'll give it to you guys another day, but you also would need something slick. Now, my surface here on mine is quite slick, and that's without having one of those Supreme sliders. I don't need that. Honestly, I don't understand why people are wasting the money on it. That's just personal opinion, because what I do out in my sewing area, I don't have one of those. I have a shower curtain, because I got 8 cuts from a shower curtain that equal the same slick as the Supreme slider, and I can make 8 of them. So if one of them starts getting tears, holes, you know, whatever, I make another one from that same shower curtain. So, and it's taped on my whole area out there, and you guys have seen it in my older videos, my shower curtain. So I have that. So that's another idea. And it's just a dollar store shower curtain. So, all right, let's get to some of this. Now, make sure your tension is set correct, because you cannot see underneath your quilt, so it's good to stop and look. I will show you how that's done. Secondarily, some people have a dial, you know, up here. I have my dial on the side, which adjusts my stitch width to small or very big. I turn mine down to 0 for doing this, so because I'm the one controlling how big my stitches are. So that is definitely something that you can do. Turn it down to 0, and just remember where you had it originally. You don't have to. It's up to you. Sometimes it quilts just fine, free motion quilting, with all the other steps without having to turn your dial down. But for beginner's sake, I would say switch it down until you get used to moving around, because you're the one controlling the stitches by moving your quilt tops, your quilt top. I thought I would have this cough under control so I wouldn't cough the whole time. So if you see me looking like I'm breathing through my mouth a lot, it's because I can hardly breathe through my nose, and breathing through my mouth is kind of exaggerating the need to cough. So, but I have my water, which I just threw. So as my throat starts feeling dry, I can just drink water. But I took all my medicine and did everything. Alright, so let's get to this. One more thing. Gloves. Machine gear gloves are, I don't know if they're midly price ranged. Then there's quilters gloves of all different other brands, which is what I have. They're just machiner gloves. You could also use gardening gloves that have those little, they're like little not pricklies, but plastic knobby type things on them, on the bottom, so that, you know, it helps grip the fabric. That's the reason for gloves. So you could even use winter gloves, because it works just the same. Except for winter gloves, I would suggest cutting off your first finger and your thumb right at the, just the tip off, so that you can rethread, because it's really hard to rethread with winter type gloves. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm already threaded, but I'm just going to put one glove on temporarily so that I can still drop my needle real quick. And I'm just going to work on this one, which is just lines, and I don't honestly can't tell how I adjusted on it as best as possible without shining too much from my machine light, which makes it so bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the spot where this ended somewhere. Let's see, where did it end? I don't know, I think I'm just going to start on it and go through this previous and these empty spots. So what I'm going to do is bring it to a outer line, because I want to start an outer line. Also, you want to make sure that the weight of the quilt is on your lap and on a table, okay? You don't want the weight of your quilt sliding off of a table, so it's best to have your sewing machine to the right of a table, not to the left, because you won't have no space to do any quilting. And that is just from being a beginner in 100% learning curve, because I used to have my machine on a desk where the drawers were on the one side, and my machine had to sit, oh yeah, no, the drawers were on the right side, and my machine had to sit on the left side where the opening was, and everything hung off. So I learned my lesson on that one and got a different desk. So now I know better. So that's definitely another tip for free motion quilting at desks. But they do make desks for quilting. So anyways, I'm going to start by putting my presser foot down, and I notice that's still kind of tight. There we go. I want it to be able to slide underneath that presser foot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my needle down and needle up button one time to bring my bobbin thread up. And then I'm going to put my machine speed down just a little, because I like to put the pedal to the metal. This slows me down just a little. And I'm going to take a couple stitches in that spot to secure that thread. And I'm just going to kind of hold it out of the way and put my other glove on so that I can get to this better. And I'm just going to hold it out of the way because it's on the top instead of the bottom, which it'll end up underneath. And I am going to just slowly move the quilt to the side. And then I'm going to come in with my little handy dandy scissors snippers and snip that thread. And I usually just toss it on the quilt. So another tip, and I've said this before a bazillion times in a couple of my earlier videos where I did some free motion quilting, you need to know how to hold the quilt. Now, you definitely do not want to press hard, because then you're not going to get anywhere. What you need to do is just tickle the fabric. That means just lay your hands on top of it. They can move free on the fabric, and the fabric moves underneath. If you're massaging your fabric, which when you massage and when you push hard, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get crinkling, wrinkling, and folding, and everything else that you do not want. So I highly recommend that you just place your hands and you tickle your fabric. I know it sounds weird, but that's the only thing I can think of that makes it easier to know how much pressure to put on a quilt top when you're moving it around at your machine. And don't mind my fan blowing this everywhere. Like always, it blows things. So now I'm just going to come down. I'm going to go over, up, over, down. These are building blocks is what I call them. I don't know if there's really any true word to some of these designs. And these ones are not straight because, like I said, I taught someone. I needed to give them a quick little lesson on something while I was at my machine, so I pulled out this quilt and just let them do it. But it was okay. It doesn't bother me none. Like I said, this is just a practice quilt. I think of something in my head, or I seen it in a video and I kind of want to replicate it, especially if it was on a long arm video. I watch a lot of long arm videos, and I would love to be able to replicate a lot of those sitting just as well as doing it. When the machine is on the frame, it's so easy. And one day I will teach you guys how I actually, when I first started long arm, you guys saw my video, I did quite well for my first time. I set up my machine. Well, everybody helped set up my machine. We got it all set up on the frame and everything. And I went, and wow, it just like came out of me. That was my first time. Then I went to a couple quilt shows and demoed a couple machines. And I was like, the ladies looked at me like, how long have you been doing this? I just started. it just came to me. Free motion quilting I started earlier, and I didn't catch on as fast, but I had the general idea in my head. It's the movement of my arms is what made me able to do it. So, yeah, it's what came to me naturally. So I have a little secret way that I taught myself a lot of the way throughout the time I've been learning now, taking the learning curve, using pantographs and following along designs and so on and so forth. It all took a while, but I learned from a specific thing that I do when I'm watching videos, and I will show you guys when I start long arm, mid arm, whatever you guys want to call it, frame quilting. I will show you guys that secret of what I do. I'll have to have somebody record me actually doing what I do, because there's no way to explain it anyway. I mean, I'm really good with words, but there's no way to explain it. So anyways, I'm just moving this fabric and I'm creating squares. And then I take that square and I move it over. If you don't know how fast to go, that is all on you. Honestly, you can go however fast. You can speed up. It's all on your machine, though. It's you and your machine. I know the faster you go, the smaller your stitches are going to be. The slower you go, just when you're pressing your presser foot or your foot pedal down, the faster you go, the smaller the stitches. But then they're going to get bigger the faster you move the quilt. So if I just move really fast, my stitches are consistent and they are pretty big. And if I slow myself down but speed up, then I'm going to have really tight stitching. And then you take the chances of thread breaking, which is something that happens quite often with free motion quilting. Not every machine is designed for that. They're not, the modes that they that are in the computer systems that are in them. This is not computerized, but there are computer side of here, sensors and so on and so forth. It wasn't, certain machines weren't designed with the mechanical purposes of the machine to do this. I mean, yes, they make the feed dogs go up and down, but that's for also a lot of other projects that you can do when you knock those feed dogs down. So some machines aren't designed for it, so you have to make that machine want to do it and like it. So some machines won't like certain kinds of thread, certain kinds of thickness of the thread. My machine, this one, does not like to go backwards. So backwards for me, when this is on the frame, it does not like to go back up towards the top of the frame this way. I can go side to side, which is normal because that's front and back when you reverse and go forward, which is the machine's direct way. And sometimes I can go around this way, around the front side, but it does not like to go back this way, especially when it's going fast. It does not like it at all, and it does not like it in my stitch regulated mode that's built into the thing that hooks to my machine to use it on the frame. It definitely does not like that. So, and it just right now it skipped stitches because it doesn't like to do that, and it broke. It does not like to go that way at all. So I pull it up, but it popped it out anyway. Now this is why I recommend the cutting 2 fingers off on some of your gloves. The machine gears, the actual ones, they have like this a coating around it to help you be able to grab your thread and it doesn't get tangled. But unfortunately, these ones that I have for myself, my personal pair, they don't have that. So I end up having to pull my finger out, my 2 fingers, because I don't know how to use my thingy. I have never been able to figure that out. I figured out the threader on my brother, but I cannot figure it out on this machine. I have tried, I've watched a bazillion videos, and I guess nobody's explaining it right. The book don't explain it right to me or anything, so. Oh well, I'll never be able to use it. I can still see the needle hole, so I can still thread it, I guess, on my own. So I'm going to come back to the spot that I was at. I'm going to make sure nothing else is in my area, by the way. So if you have a pile of pins, you don't want them sitting there because you're just going to knock everything over. Try to keep that space, because the more over you get into the middle, this is going to be pushing over. So you want to make sure you keep your space well cleared out. So I'm going to come in, put my foot back down, go down with it, come back up. Oops. Sometimes it doesn't want to pull that thread back up, the bottom thread. So sometimes I have to manually turn it. It's still not picking it up. Are you serious? It's another thing. Sometimes it does not like to get the thread, especially if you use the cutter when you're free motion quilting. You need quite a bit of thread sticking out in your bob. That's why they recommend pulling it to the top. And thread sticks to my gloves like you would not believe. Alright, let's do this again. Back to where I was. Got my presser foot down. Drop the needle. There's my thread that I want. And I just pull it out just a little. And I take a couple stitches in that same spot. And then I start going the way I want. And I'm going to go slow until I can see that thread. And plus it does not, like I said, my machine does not like to go that way. So it doesn't like me to pull the material away from it. It just hates it. Absolutely. It does it both sit down and stand up quilting. So, and these machines were designed for quilting. Now if I go super slow, it allows me to do it. Move my speed up a little and move my hands just a little bit more. And don't worry, you can stop, adjust your hands. You don't want to just keep going like this and find yourself to where you can't go anymore or make any turns because your hands are too far out. That's why I said you need to be at the machine where your elbows are bent just slightly, you know. You just adjust as you need. You need to speed up. And see, I would stop here. I would adjust. Come back and adjust. Like I said, I'm just doing like this like square kind of thing. So I'm moving, turning, kind of going through each square and around. I'm not making any curved lines. They're just point and stop. So point, stop, point. I'm just like stopping when I get to the point that I want to be. I wish that I had my new camera so you guys can see up close what I'm doing, or had a kid awake, because one is at the winter form. No. Why did I say winter formal? Homecoming. So technically she is awake, she's just not here. So I like to go fast, but that's personal preference. I'm not really going that fast, honestly. And then I go breaking thread again. Like I said, usually I'd pull it up, but I won't be able to grab it because my thread broke. So it's best to just slow it down, and if you have an adjuster, slow it down more to keep you from going too fast. The reason why I haven't cut the fingers off of these gloves just yet is because because I keep them on because I don't have another pair just yet. I haven't went and got another pair of gloves. So this is my only pair, so I kind of left the fingers on these ones. Plus in the garage, in my normal quilting space, I have, it does get cold in the winter. So I kind of like all my fingers still covered when I do have to use them. I don't really do very many free motion quilting projects anymore though. pull it away just a little, and I snip that thread. I just throw it on the quilt for now. So the slower you go, the wider your stitches will be. And then I'm going to take, and I'm going to free motion stitch in the ditch. So there's already stitching in the ditch right here, which on this whole entire quilt, most of the stitching in a ditch is free motion quilted. So I'm just going to follow it back down. And again, I'm going to stop, adjust my hands, and the quilt if need be, bringing myself to another corner. So I can either take it this way and start this one, which I have some stitching in there as well. Some of these are started and not finished. I guess I was showing somebody something. So I guess I will come down here and then gather myself right there. So I'm just going to slowly move this way. And see if it looks like it's doing this. It'll lay itself nice and flat. It'll come out. And just keep adjusting it. If you have a small throat in your machine, just make sure that when you get to ends where it's starting to bunch up, just roll the quilt. It helps quite a bit. I'm just going to stitch down this whole side. And see, I'm so used to it, I keep going. Usually I don't need to adjust my hands as often. And here I'm going to pull my thread up, drop it back down, drop that needle down, pull the thread to the top, and then snip it, just like so. That way my thread is already long and I didn't have to cut it. So here I have an end, and I'm just going to connect to it like a couple stitches beforehand. And now my thread's going to be at the bottom, so if I don't pull it, it's okay. And come, line that needle back up on it, give it a couple stitches, take my scissors out of the way or else they're going to fall on me and poke me. And here I'm doing I come down, do a circle, equal it, come down, circle, come down, circle, come down, circle. I wish I could show you, but yeah, I guess you could just watch my hand movements. I'm going to snip this real quick while it's sticking out right there because I'm going to be coming back around right there. And I'm kind of just doing an equal back and forth. Again, I am only tickling my fabric. And then I readjust my hands and the quilt top if need be. And here it comes to an end. I'm just going to kind of follow this line. And like I said, my machine does not like to go back upward. So I'm going to do a squiggly line in between the fan is really blowing my thread with it going so slow through here. I really do pick up a lot of thread with these darn gloves. Alright, now I'm going to start my squiggly line, or my back and forth loops, all the way back down to the bottom, and then I'll squiggly line back up to the top again. So I'm coming down, making a circle, making a circle. I'm trying to keep them parallel with each other, and trying to keep my little end circles consistent, although that is highly impossible for me to 100% do. It always just looks like a big pile of mush. Some designs I've never been really that good at, but when you're a beginner, it's an accomplishment to do anything free motion quilting. And again, I'm just barely touching the fabric, and it's going where I want it, how I want it. And again, if you need to stop and adjust things, which I had to just now, do so. I'm almost down to the bottom again. So I'm just going down, making a loop, coming down, making a loop the opposite way. Fit one more little loopy in here. End it right there. Follow this line over by stitching a ditch, free motion style. And now I'm just going to squiggle the line all the way back to the top again. I'm kind of pulling the fabric right now with my fingers, only because I'm trying to get back to the top real quick. Now I'm back to the top, and I'm going to do the same thing all over again. I'm coming down, making a loop, taking it back the other way. Trying to keep them as consistent as possible. Trying to keep my speed consistent so that my stitches stay consistent. Now, if you see any eyelashes poking up at the top, you really need to check the tension. It's very rare. If your tension is good at, when you're piecing, by the time you get to free motion quilting, it should stay pretty good. But it is easy to knock it out when you're quilting. So you would take and you would come to the section where you are and you would look on the back and, oh, this is amazing because my tension, which is amazing because sometimes it gets off. But if you use two different colors, say a different bottom thread and a different color top thread, the best way to know is if you see bobbin thread up on the top, then you know you have a tension problem on the bottom when you bobbin. If you see bobbin thread or top thread color down at the bottom, then you know you have a top tension problem. Some machines, the bottom tension cannot be adjusted, which is like on my brother, it's kind of always the way it is. And the top, there's a thing on the top that adjusts the tension for the bottom. So it just depends. You might want to look at your user manual for your machine to see how that works and the best. Some manuals might have, I don't know what they call free motion quilting. They could call it darning or something like that. I don't know. Look in the manual and see if it says anything, and it'll tell you what its best setting should be for that, because these machines have been tested to do everything, so they at least should be. So they can't expect the user to do everything. So you might want to check that. But if you see little pieces sticking up, you're either going too fast or your tension is messed up. Because if you go really fast and move this fabric super fast, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it doing this. Did it do it? Let's see if it did it on the bottom. Nope, it didn't. I can't see if it does it if I go very fast, but sometimes if I go very fast, you'll have eyelashes on the bottom and or the top, and that's because you went too fast around a curve. So that's definitely something to watch for, is the speed that you're moving the quilt, not the speed that your machine is going, but that would be a quilt moving speed. So I'm just going to go along this bottom again. Find myself a good area and start weaving through. And I haven't had anybody ask anything, so I doubt anybody's watching. I've been watching the chat thing and nothing's popped up, so I guess I'm just teaching for a replay. Alright, so now I have room to do one more row, and I'm going to take this pin out because I'm going to come right down to it. And this is probably, there's probably maybe one or two pins left in this whole entire quilt, which is actually pretty darn good that it's stayed together. But like I said, some areas are stitched, some areas, oh, so here's another pin. Some areas are stitched, some are not. I kind of started like working my way all the way around, but since it's sandwiched really nicely, it's not shifted anything, and the bottom hasn't shifted either, so this spray stuff really works well. But after it's washed, I don't know how well it's going to wash away after it's been sitting so long. Especially in my hot garage. Oh look, let's see. Hi Diane. Hi Gigi. Once on some posters, but I think I'll do it on some pot holders next week. I thought that would be good. Yes, pot holders, coasters, table runners. Even if you have, okay, so you know when you make a quilt and when you go to trim away that excess batting, and there's either way a lot and you can use that for a table runner, or there's just small amounts, just take that, take a scrap piece of fabric and put one piece on the top and one piece on the bottom. You can even fold it over onto it, like just fold the long piece of fabric over onto your, and make a sandwich without even cutting the end, and just play with it. I was actually thinking of making myself a book of pages that are not made of paper, but pages of designs. It'd probably be a really thick book of just the things that I know how to do. So that way, and that I know how to do on the frame as well. That way, if somebody says, "Oh, hey, I like that. Can you do that one?" They can choose. You know. I was thinking about doing that, but I haven't done it yet. And I was thinking about making them like a little bit smaller than 10-inch square size, but these are 10-inch squares. So yeah, that's definitely great practice. Yes, I am on, Diane, because I needed something other than those blocks, though. I really just figured this would be fun to just work on this and explain free motion quilting so that a beginner can understand if they really want to do it or not. You know, like the quilting world, I know what I'm doing, but I'm far from being an expert, and I'm still in the beginner stage, but I would consider myself more of an advanced beginner. So I know what I'm doing and I can teach it well and show it well, but obviously you can't see it close. I really wish I had a button, with a remote that can control the zoom in and zoom out, but I'm sorry, I don't have that. But I'm trying to at least show it. Yeah, I wasn't very good at first either. I still think I have a lot of work to do, but poinsettias, I quilted poinsettias, yes, free motion in blank areas. And if you actually go and look at my quilt pages, I don't think it's on my Instagram because I haven't put many pictures there yet, but in my Facebook one, and if you scroll down somewhere, there's got to be pictures there, I'm pretty sure there is, of a quilt that I did for someone that has poinsettias that I quilted into it. And my daughter sat on the floor and took chalk, which was already almost gone by the time it got from the ground and her drawing them out to the machine and me quilting them over. It was fun to do and fun to try to see, hey, is that the chalk line? I really had a hard time. I had lights from every angle heating me up with this quilt sitting on my lap and on the machine. And I was literally trying to see if there was chalk lines, and my daughter had already left, so she had drew them for me and she had left. She had to go do something or work or something like that, so I wasn't able to have her come and redraw these lines for me. It was so hard, but I managed to do it, and it turned out absolutely beautiful. I did it in a gold thread. Oh, it was amazing. But it was given to a very, very special person, so obviously it is well loved. Yeah, I haven't even tried. I kind of didn't want to waste the money on a pounce pad. I bought a box of chalk. Just, it's all sorts of colors to use on all sorts of colored fabrics, because you don't want to use white chalk on white fabric. You ain't going to see it. And if you do see it, it's going to be like, is that it? Is that the line? You know, I mean, you don't know that, do you? So I have like pink, blue, white, green, and even black chalk for white fabrics, but that one doesn't come off very well, so I don't use that very often, like almost ever, because it doesn't blow away. So yeah, again, I'm just trying to keep a consistent speed here. So yeah, I haven't tried counts. I figured there's no need. I don't do this very often. I'm kind of leaning towards, once I get a bigger machine for my frame, something the size I want at least an 18-inch frame fits an 18-inch machine. Once I'm able to afford the 18-inch that I want for my machine, I want to start doing ruler work. for at least to get to where I need to go the next way, so I can do a lot of straight lines. Right now I can do straight lines, and I have my little handy dandy ruler, but I can only use needle will go through it and I will break it, which I have already done with one of these rulers. So Gigi, are you watching for the first time? Because I don't know if I've seen you seeing you chatting while I'm on before, so I'm not sure. I could have, and I just don't remember. The name is quite easy to remember, so I don't know. But I don't think so. If it's your first time watching, like and subscribe. Everything I can to help beginners understand everything there is to do with quilting, you know? From piecing to everything, from cutting to piecing to when I finally can go outside and work on my frame instead. But right now we'll just do some free motion quilting. But yeah, I don't comment much either when I watch other people's videos. I think it's just because as soon as I say something, everyone's like, "Hi Tiffany, hi Tiffany, hi Tiffany." Yeah, ever since the quilting marine thing, and I used to comment, and then my quote came in, all of a sudden it was recognized. Not that I'm not trying to get popular, because I'm kind of trying to get my name out there, but then it was like I couldn't read the comments as fast as they were coming to say hi to everyone individually or answer individual questions. So now I try not to comment. I do if I absolutely have to, or if I have something I actually have to say or get it out, then I do, but don't really much. It's okay though. With me though, it's okay to comment. You know why? Because nobody's ever here. So, especially when I'm live, most of my lives, by the time I go on afterwards, after I clear out my live video on that screen, and I'm able to see on this screen my cell phone, because right now you guys are watching me from my tablet. When I finally clear that out and this screen pops up with the actual screen, it says how many views it's had. So it's like 4 or 5 or 6. I don't think I've ever had more than 10 watching at the time. So, and it's the same women every time. So, as Diane obviously is here. So, yeah, it's not a very big group, so you don't have to feel overwhelmed right now. I mean, I have 80 subscribers now. Can you believe that? 80. I have 20 more to go, and then I get to go to dinner with the hubs. Because that will mean I'm at 100. So yay! I'm almost there. But since my hours are not, since I don't have consistent online live hours, I kind of don't have that many people watching when I'm on. So they'll see the comments later, but while I'm on, I mean, come on now. There's plenty of room to say hi. Alright, so I came to the end, and I didn't do that side, so let's just switch right back up. Try not to pull too fast, because I want my stitches to stay the same length. Now I'm back to the top. And now I think I'm going to bring this to the top. So what I do is I lift my presser foot, I pull a little. On this machine, and I'm pretty sure others are the same way because I do it on my brother, I have to pull the presser foot, lift the thing to get the thread to come back up when I go to it. So I'm going to move myself to a middle area so I can show how to, what I call wrestle a queen size quilt into, this is a 9-inch throat. Well, from needle to the end is 9 inches. Most of you only have 5 or 6 inches. There is an old brother machine that is 4.5 inches, which I highly do not recommend doing anything than a quilt as you go. So, I don't know what time it is here right now. Let me look. It is 12:11 here. So you found me watching the Quilting Marine then. That's good. Yeah, I just sent in, well, not just, they were sent yesterday, the blocks that I made. I don't know if you saw the video, Gigi, but I made 10 blocks. I had to stop myself because, as you can tell, I did send in a whole quilt to the Quilting Marine because I can't stop myself. So, yeah, I had to stop myself at 10 blocks or else I probably would have made whatever size a twin, because he said something about them being twin size. So that's going to need, at 12.5 inches, that's going to need 6 or 7 blocks across by 10 to 11 blocks down. It's going to be pretty big. Oh, that's not bad. It's Saturday night. I mean, what is there really? You got to wake up and go to church, or wake up and not wake up and sleep in because it's Sunday. So, all right, let's choose to rustle this thing in. So I'm just going to just pull this, and I'm going to roll as I, and I'm going to take myself all the way to this one right here, because there's nothing in that one. Now it's going to be a little bit harder for you guys to see. And you can see this big, huge, I don't know if you can see that very well, but there is a echoed feather wreath right there. Can you see that? I'm going to keep holding it so I can see if I'm seeing it properly. If I adjust it sideways a little. This is such a delay for me to watch my own video. Nope, can't tell. Oh well, there is a, it starts with a circle, and I go around that twice, and then I bring the feather loops around it. So, right now, here is a big feather, but I don't know if you can see that either. That is a, from corner to corner, and then it feathers out to the edges. Alright, now I gotta move all this thread even further. It's like literally stuck to my fingers. Oh, that sucks. Pull it, and move it into the hand. What I do is I pull it to the top and then cut it, so it pretty much is locking. It's tied first. I tie it off, then I bring the bottom thread up to the top. You know, I pull it down to tie it one more time. It pulls the bottom thread up, and then once it's on the top, I cut it. So that means the bottom thread is cut from the top. Are you coming in? Okay, well, squeeze in tightly. My daughter's going to come in, so I will have her actually show you some of the quilting that is on here as soon as she gets in all the way. Come on, squeeze in. Here. Where'd you get those from? What, did you come to the dance? After, who paid to get into the dance after that late?
Wait, so he was saying he called me.
Okay, we're going to bring it right now. While she's talking, I'm going to come and bring and show you guys some of the quilting that's in this.
Said that he's going to end up working with...
Can you pass me that?
I believe him. He said he's just going to come by and just do a delivery, and he's going to say hi. Then I saw him in his outfit, and then he had the roses.
So there's that. There's a couple wrinkles, but that's not from the quilting. That's from the quilt itself not being quilted down right there, as you can tell. Then we just got some squiggly lines. And then this is, I can't tell until it focuses. That is a clam flower echoed. Here's the one that, let me pull it back a little. You really can't tell, but it's a flower that goes from there, or a feather that goes from corner to corner. Let's bring it over, show some of this. So this is when I first started working on it. That was just me learning how to do straight lines. That was me teaching myself how to meander, big meander. Some more straight lines. More big, I don't even know what that is, jumble mess.
Everybody loved me, Mom, with my outfits.
Check out the daughter and her cute little outfit. She wore that to, it's got pinstripes. You can't really tell, but it's up there. There's an angle that you could tell the pinstripes. The top has a vest. That's what she wore to her dance.
My hair
Say hi,
was
Max.
older, but, you know, it was crowded.
All right, let's take and move this down
No
some
joke,
more.
but literally the
So there's
whole
some more
school
straight
came.
lines. That was that jumbled mess. There's when I first started learning how to do swirlies. And you can see this is beginner stuff right there. I was learning, and that's all done just with the open toe foot on it. And that straight line with a flower, and a straight line with a flower. That one's quite simple to do, actually. And then more, I don't even know what that is, jumbled mess. Then this is me attempting to do, I don't know if you can see that very well. It's supposed to be the wood grain look. You can't really tell. So it's like a wood grain look. It comes in, and then comes back out, and then makes lines. So that's wood grain. I saw it in a video and I said, oh, I can do that. There was me trying to make like a window or something. I have no idea. Let's see, what else do we got going on in here? Alright, there's over and over and over feathers. So it kind of starts somewhere. I don't even know where it starts, but it starts somewhere. And then it just keeps going. It's supposed to be like a full thing of feathers. Then thank you. Yes, she is very beautiful. Yep.
No, I'm not.
I'm glad she has a boyfriend because she's going to have, like, men drooling over her when she's older because she's only 16 now. There's kind of what I was doing just now, but that's on the different side. And then there's some more squiggly lines. There's echoed hearts. Like I said, I see these in videos and I'm like, oh, hey, I can do that. So I'll pull this quilt out and then attempt it. I don't know what I was doing. It started out as like some kind of whatever, and it turned into swirlies when it came out. One end would come out, if you see, it comes out into a swirly. Another one comes around, it comes out into a swirly. I kind of just made that one up as I go. That next one, I can't tell what it is. There's wide lines. There's swirly balls. I don't even know what to call that. Swirly balls doesn't sound very nice, but I guess circle within a circle within a circle. How's that? Then we have paisleys. So like I said, I'm an advanced beginner, so I still have a lot of work to go and do, but let's see what else. Oh, these are the ones I just did right now. They're really sloppy. This is the only one that I am super duper sloppy at, is this back and forth. I could never get it to stay exactly even. That's why I try to explain it, because it's easier. And then this is the one that I let someone do, and I just finished it. Then we have some straight lines. Then we have some swirly, I forgot what that tail part is called. And then these ones are fun right here. So you would do a line, and then you would make a little bitty circle. Do a line, make a little bitty circle. There's more paisleys. But those are the ones that do not connect to each other. And there's some more squares. Yeah, just throw a queen size or whatever size, even a full size together. What do we have here? This one's a meander right there. it's a smaller. And then more meandering. There's crossed lines. I have no idea. Oh yeah, I was trying to, on my own, free motion, go from one corner to the next with a curve. That's what I was trying, because you could see it. There's the curve. And then I X'd it. And then back to the big, huge swirly thing. And yeah, that's all of them. That's so far. Like I said, I haven't got much done on this yet. Alright, let me put myself back where it needs to go. It kind of sucks that I can't show you as I'm going, though, because I can't really hold this tablet and sew at the same time. But I can definitely explain what I'm doing at the same time, so that's a plus. No, your bear and stuff is all in the way.
It's just so pretty.
Her boyfriend brought her these to the dance.
I didn't make the song.
They smell good. And they're going to make me cough. The smell is good. And now get through. Yeah, these were just 10-inch squares. That's all it is 10-inch squares sewn together in rows. Hold on, let me count them just so, because I don't remember. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 across by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 8 by 9. So yeah, that's not that bad a size with a, I'm pretty sure this is like a 4-inch border. Because I wanted to be able to do a border design. Yep. So it was cut at 4.5 probably, because it's coming out at 4. So yeah. Yep. So I'm just kind of choose a square here and there. I did not start in the middle. Everyone says start in the middle. I don't know. I don't really think when you use basting spray, starting in the middle doesn't matter. At least as far as I've done with quilts, any kind of quilting, even just stitching in a ditch. Some people start in just in the middle, or at least a middle seam and go all the way down to stitch in a ditch. I have noticed that there is no difference if you've used basting spray. This was not only sprayed though, this was sprayed and pinned. So this thing wasn't going anywhere. And now that there's stitching randomly everywhere, and it's been in and out of being folded constantly and put on a shelf and taking it out here and there, it's definitely held itself together, because like I'm literally pulling on it and I can still feel the batting every time. I mean, it's definitely good. The thing that was really bad is my piecing was not perfect back then when I first started. I was barely learning, and so some of these are way off, but what do you expect when you're learning? You have to learn sometime, somehow. So alright, getting it in here. See, right there with those. So I'm gonna come right here and do this block. You're sure you can try this size first, but if you're gonna go big and you're just doing plain blocks, do like I'm doing. Little by little, work on the project. You don't have to do it all at once. Do it as you're comfortable. So that way you have, well, 9.5 inches. It was 10, but that way you have this one square to work with. And if you started on an outer edge and you don't like it, take hair clippers, actual hair clippers, and just like you're sewing someone's head, but very lightly go over it, and it'll take everything all out, and you don't have to pick it. They have a seam ripper thing that unrips seams from quilting, and it's the same exact thing as hair clippers, like literally the same thing. So instead of spending $45 on that, $15 is how much a pair of Conair hair clippers cost, because I have my son's that I do his hair with. So but yeah, try something small first. Do the pot holders stuff and things first. Table runners, pot holders, so on and so forth. Try that first, and then if you feel that you've got the motion going, then throw something like this together and do the block. Or just throw something like this together like I did and start with straight lines. you know, just all the outer ones, some kind of straight line. And then do the next ones in, the next row in, something different. And then the next row in, even more skilled and even more skilled as you make your way to the center, or start from the center out, depending on how you're basting it. So, alright, so this is not basted right there, or not, it's technically basted, stitched in a ditch. So I'm going to wrangle this up here. And I think I'm going to do a mixture of swirlies and, I don't know, I'm just going to stitch. I'll try to explain it as I go. Yeah, true. A quarter of the quilt at a time is just as easy. The only reason why I'm sporadically doing it on this is because I'm kind of spreading out the weird designs I'm doing on here. Like how there's paisleys here, but there's a paisley design here as well. So I'm kind of hoping that they're scattered out pretty good. Like the swirlies is on that side, and then there's a swirly that's over on this side. So they're scattered, but it's a different, it's not exactly the same design, it's almost the same. Alright, there they are. It's good to watch the flow. That's something you miss with a lot of the quilting tutorials, teaching free motion quilting. You miss all that, how they're getting from one section to another, especially if they're quilting something big, because their camera is focused right here. You know, they have some kind of camera set up directly to show people the movement that they're making, or which way to go, or how to do the design. I kind of like the idea that you guys can't see how sloppy my work is, and I'm explaining it to you. Although this is not that sloppy. It's sloppy enough though. But seeing how I'm moving it through the machine and wrestling it around and laying it on the table, and you know, that kind of stuff, that also helps too. And the describing also helps along the way, which is why I feel I make a good teacher, and everyone has always told me that all my life, because I describe things. Sometimes I get certain subjects, I get really in depth with describing things. So hey, did you put the thing back in front of the door for me to sew? Okay. Oh no, she's not going to get married. No, not right now. Hopefully she's going to be like her sister with the 3 years of dating, 3 years of engagement, and 3 years after marriage before you have a kid. Yeah, that's what she was saying. She has a 3-year plan where she has to be dating for 3 years, engaged for 3 years, and married for 3 years before any children come. I said, are you serious?
When I'm 18, 3 years. Because both of them end up high school sweethearts.
Then if you do end up high school sweethearts, and
no, I won't have
then
a
you
child
you can get married but don't have children right away.
I'm never having children. Let's just say that.
This is a good machine. Yes, Juki makes amazing machines, but this machine specifically, I don't know. It's got its downfalls, and I would do a review, but I don't know if Juki will never send me something again because of my review, especially how descriptive I can get. If you know what I mean. It's a good machine overall, especially for piecing. If you want to spend $1,000, because that's how much this machine costed, if you want to spend $1,000 on a machine just to piece quilts, but make sure that you always have amazing piecing every time, this is the best machine for that. Anything else? This is not the best machine. Like, I break thread all the time. No matter if my tension is perfect, no matter if I use 30, 40, 50 weight, or polyester, cotton, silk, you name it, threads, it hates every kind of thread. I have got it adjusted right now to where it's working okay for cotton thread, but it hates me. When it comes to needles, because it is just a single hole and it's very small, if there is any kind of yank, tug, or pull, and that needle gets like somehow hooked to the bobbin thread while the, okay, so say it's threaded through the needle and it gets hooked to the bobbin, and it's in that middle of coming up, and you go to move it, and it ever so slightly moves that needle, um, like pulls on that needle any which way while it's on its way back down trying to find that hole, what's going to happen is it's going to snap. And guess what? You know how many times I have snapped a needle, and it wasn't because I was going too fast. It wasn't because of anything. It was just because it was in that position just ever so slightly in that move, that motion that it was going. It missed the hole, and the needle has snapped, and it's shot back and hit me in the face because your face is literally right here. So, yes, the drop feed machines are on the back side. This one is on the front. It's just a little level. And I've actually forgot to put them down while quilting, and you know what? It makes no difference, honestly. I mean, some materials, like this is a cotton back, but if, say you're using some other kind of material, some materials tend to snag, especially polyester, if you're making, I don't know what, clothes or something. I've used sheets, which this is a sheet, but this is a cotton sheet set, a cotton linen sheet. I have used polyester sheets, and it's been a little bit like a slick polyester. It almost feels silk, but it's not silk. The feed dogs have caught on it before, and that's when I realized, hey, what the hell is going on here? It was my feed dogs. It was yanking on the bottom, so I've had to fix that before. And, oh yeah, hey, knock it down, because I always forget it's my other machine is in the back, which I'm used to on all of my old machines. This one, it's right here. I didn't wait on the kid thing. I waited on the marriage thing. With all of anybody that I've ever dated, I waited a very long time of dating before I got married. Except for my first husband. We got pregnant on a whim. I got pregnant very easily, and I was only 17, and he was 29. And I got pregnant, and then I told him, and he's like, oh, well, I have to take care of it. And so my grandma and everyone in my family says, well, it's a horrible thing to say, but you're going to be condemned to hell, Tiffany, if you don't get married. I said, what? I was 17 years old. I turned 18 3 months into the pregnancy, but still. They were going to condemn me to hell and never talk to me again if I didn't marry the man. But it's a good thing he wanted to marry me anyway, so it didn't matter. I mean, we were seeing each other for a while, but we were just friends that made a mistake, did our thing, and ended up pregnant. So we got married and had 3 kids while I was still young, but all my marriages after that, they were a long-awaited marriage. It could be Leah Day. I've seen her do those things before. She just dropped turned the knob all the way to 0, and the feed dogs were up the whole entire time. But then again, cotton is really good. So like I said, the feed dogs don't really mess with cotton when it's up. It doesn't pull or stick to it because they're just going up and down as fast as the needle's going. So if you're moving that fabric like it would be any other time, it's going to be moving it out of the way, either way. So the only thing I think it would do is if it would bunch towards the end or something, you know what I mean? Like when you get to the outside, you're going to start bunching the fabric or something. Other than that, I don't think it would. The other thing that you can do if you don't have drop-down feed dogs is, like I explained in the beginning of this, before you guys got on, is those Supreme sliders. I wouldn't spend my money on it, but if you do, do it. Is a shower curtain from the 99-cent store, the clear ones, the clear shower curtain. They're pretty thick. Get it? You can cut it up depending on what area you're trying to cover. And I'm gonna tie this off real quick, just so that I can show you what I'm talking about. So if your feed dogs are up, so say the feed dogs are up, I'm gonna make them come up. There we go. Take these darn gloves off and make them come up all the way. So like this material, don't ever, I would not say use flannel or what is that fluffy stuff called? What is that fluffy? Fleece. No flannel or fleece. Flannel and fleece, you need drop down feed dogs, because or else you're gonna get, it's sticking this. So I would say that. But if they don't go down, take that shower curtain or any kind of, you can probably do one of those thick Ziploc baggies. I would say, the storage freezer kind ones. The area that fits right here, just over your presser plate, cut out that area, take the presser plate off, and just make a little lip and cover your feed dogs, but make that little hole, where your needle goes down into. Put that thing over, make your screw holes through it, and then screw it down onto there so that it's slick. I mean, that's a lot of extra work, but you can do that, or do the shower curtain thing like me, and you cover the whole area. And then it covers the feed dogs and everything. So if I forget to put them down, they're covered anyway. You know what I mean? Because that was for free motioning, and I just put my thing on there. I have a piece right now that the presser plate is cut out of and then put down into so it holds it in. It's my very creative design. And then the more it rips and stuff over time, because it will, it's a shower curtain. It's just like the Supreme sliders, they're going to lose their stickiness over time, if you think about it. So it's the same thing as using a shower curtain. That, right now, I have blue paper tape holding it down, so it works just the same to me. So yeah. Yeah, that works out too, perfectly. Wow, that's a long time. My first marriage, he died in 06. My second, I dated for a long time. I actually never married the guy. We were together for a little over 8 years. We never got married though. My second husband was a bad guy. We were together for a long time, engaged for over a year, but the marriage only lasted 3 months because he ended up in prison for a very bad thing to me and my family. That can be another conversation another time. My third husband didn't last very long. We were together for a while before we got married. And then he kind of proposed right away though. We stayed engaged for a long time. And then the marriage lasted a few years. And then, yeah, you'd think that I'm young for a lot of marriages, but I'm on marriage number 4 and we've been together 6 years. So it's going good this time. This time around I have a good marriage. So that's a plus. And I already had kids and stuff, so it made things harder because not everybody wants to date women with kids. So it's hard to find a man that wants someone with full-grown kids because my kids were older. And when I married Scott, my kids were you guys already.
I was
16, 15, 14. Yeah, so my 16-year-old was only 10. So, she already had a bad mouth and all sorts of other stuff. This is the one I was working on.
I was a good noodle.
Yes, it's very easy. It's very easy with the shower curtain. That's why I did that. And I was going to actually make a tutorial, but I'm actually just telling my secret in this video. I was going to make a tutorial. I've told everyone that's what I use as a shower curtain, but I was going to make a tutorial on how to cover the machine with the shower curtain. So I can do that when I end up back out in the garage. So, but it's just a 99-cent store shower curtain. It's the clear one. And it works amazing. And it stays in place if you take the proper, tape it down things. Mine's taped to my desk part, not to the machine itself. Can't scroll and see all this. Yeah, I mentioned it before in an older video. These gloves did not like my screen. Alright, let's see. Stay. Alright. How long have I been on? I'm not asking you, I'm asking my viewers because they know I can't see. For some strange reason, I can't see. gotta be horrible. Killed in a farming accident. I couldn't imagine what kind of farming accident. I mean, horrid mind sometimes. But no, sad. Yeah, after my second husband did what he did, I had PTSD, severe PTSD, as in I could never trust men ever in my life. I really went through a dark
I
period.
need to go to bed.
And can you give me a fresh cold water, please?
Uh,
I went through a very dark time, and I never drank ever in my whole entire life, and I actually drank. For 6 months, I drank alcohol and partied a lot to just not think about it. But I would never date men. I dated only women for a long time. And the feelings I was feeling every time I thought a man was coming near me or my children, because that was the most horrible feeling in the whole wide world, and I never would ever wish what happened to me and my kids upon anybody in this world. I'm trusting. And the only reason why I did end up marrying again is because those guys had shown that what happened with that second marriage was never going to happen, because they don't see the signs.
Mom, on these flowers.
Yeah. Oh, and see, my feed dogs are down, or up right now, and it's literally trying to pull it in the way. It's trying to sew, but my presser, pressure,
don't sew. I have to get out.
presser foot, yeah, go get me cold water. My presser foot, is not enough pressure to keep pulling. So that's what happens if we leave them up. It wants to try to sew it properly. My daughter's gonna give me water, so I can't sew for a second because it's too loud. I have a special towel that I put under my door so that everyone that's asleep can't hear my machine. It gets so hot with these gloves. This is another thing I do not like about quilting gloves, is that it's hot, but it's hard. I mean, it's not that hard to do it without gloves, but what's a good idea? I totally lost you because I just said a bazillion things at once. I've been on 2 hours and 44 minutes. Is that what you're saying? Or is it 2:44 in the morning? Hold on, 2 seconds. I'm not working a second. Oh, that's not bad. Ooh. It's 12:45 here, so yeah. I've been on an hour and 23 minutes because I looked, so. Alright. So I'm going to do it without gloves for a second, just so that you can see. It's easy to do it both ways, but because of my MS, my multiple sclerosis, the nerve problem that's part of it, having, my nerves are kind of all over the place. Only reason why I end up putting gloves on 90% of the time is because some fabrics, it doesn't matter what cotton fabric, some brands, especially batiks, feel very weird on my fingers. Like, yes, they are nice feeling fabrics, but my fingers don't like playing with it too much because it ends up affecting the nerves at the tip. And since I've chopped my fingers off with the rulers before, I have a weird sensation on the tips of these two fingers. Right here, from when I chopped it off, and from right here when I chopped it off, the sensation is different, but throughout all my fingers it's different. So some cottons, the batiks, definitely, and there's a couple of Moda fabric print lines that had came out in the past that the feel of the fabric, if I touch my fingers on it like this, or I feel it, it literally takes those nerves and it sends shooting pain all the way back up, and it goes into my arms and back up into my head, and it is absolutely horrible feeling. So I put these gloves on, and I actually have the gloves inside out because this outside, I don't like the feel of that. But the other side is okay because it's soft. So I like the feel of that. So I actually use my gloves inside out. That's my only 100% weirdest problem with having MS and being a quilter is fabric, and my fingers don't like each other. Like, it does it with my legs too. With sheets on my bed, I have to have a certain kind of sheet because, or else it really irritates my legs horribly bad. Comforters, some comforters are absolutely horrible. What did you have with your first husband? Anyways, I'm going to start quilting while you're responding. Gloves, it's a little bit harder to where tickling the fabric becomes more non-existent and more adjusting it in lots of different. You're just kidding. That was your first thing, and I asked you about your first husband, so yes, that is a good idea to tape the shower curtain to the desk. It works perfectly. You guys have seen, I did an art quilt. I think it's called art quilt in my video. That one is the one that you can see my desk, and I think I explained why the tape is there in that video. So I'm just attempting to follow this line so that I can stitch in the ditch all the way around this. I kind of am stitching in the ditch around every single one of these blocks, whether the whole block is quilted or not. That way the backside separates all the designs just right. And I don't think there's any shell all the way up this, so now I gotta go all the way back up this. So yeah, doing this really affects my fingers. I really must have a major delay. A delay between this and my own, and between your comments and my screen. It's the weirdest thing. I'm gonna let this catch up. This is something I've never done. I usually pee before videos, but I actually have to pee. So give me 2 seconds and I will be right back. You can listen to the music that's on in the background. So is anybody watching out of curiosity, even replay watching my videos? Is anybody near the hurricane stuff that's going on right now? I'm just very curious as to how's everyone holding up and how things are going. You know, your home and family and friends and so on and so forth, how everything's going, and if you're in a really bad area or if you're just getting lots of wind and rain, maybe. Let me know in comments below for those that are watching after the fact. I'm kind of curious as to how America's doing since I don't really watch the news related on Facebook, but not as much as you would think. And then the Weather Channel on my phone has an app. Other than that, I don't see anything really that's not from my area, honestly. So Oh, that's horrible, Diane. Yeah, mine, I guess I'll just get it out there. My second husband molested my oldest daughter when she was 9 years old, and I walked in on it. He tried to kill me. He almost succeeded. She called 911. By the time anybody came, he had already fled the home. They went on a manhunt for 3 hours to find him. My daughter was as scared to death as she could ever possibly be in her whole entire life, and that was called for instant divorce, obviously. We went to trial, took it to trial twice. He got 27 years in prison for molesting a 9-year-old and all sorts of other charges. It's molestation of a child under 12, child molestation of a child. And Arizona does it a bunch of different ways. So he got 27 consecutive years that he has to serve. This happened when she was 9. She's now 19. So now you know he's been um, technically 9 years because he had jail first, but I don't know if his jail time is actually considered his prison time. So yeah, that's kind of what happened. We had a big ordeal. It was horrible. The most worst thing that has ever happened to me and her. She had depression issues. She still does. I used to, the reason why I didn't like men and didn't want men in my household and family and around everyone, maybe just around me, but not around my children or anything, is because I thought all men were going to touch my daughters or my kids, period. It was, it's hard to explain how a mother feels, but my feelings were, I was disappointed in mankind, period. So I always thought people were gonna, if anyone was alone with my kids, I thought something weird was gonna happen. Or if I saw a rash on a child, the ones that were in diapers still, or potty training or whatever, or giving a bath to my kids, if I saw any kind of rash, I asked them questions constantly, and all the way until I don't know about 4 or 5 years ago, been about 5 years, I always asked, did that person touch you? They'd say their friend's mom touched. I got get over something like that when that happened. That's what happened in my life. That's not the full detail of it, but I was almost killed, daughter was molested, and he's in prison. So, and he shouldn't be. I ain't even going to say that here out loud, but life's life and things suck. So now everybody in my world out there, you all know the weird thing that happened to me, the most horrific event in my life, I should say. And I didn't get suicidal or anything. My daughter did a few times, especially when he got an appeal, and he had an appeal go through, and we had to re-go to court for it when she was older. He was found guilty at the time, which the evidence was all there. The jury is not going to say not guilty to something that was 100% proven guilty the first time. So, anyway, let's get off that subject. So, let's read. Gigi, they're predicting large amounts of rain in some areas with flash flooding. Last I heard that 7 deaths, really? During this hurricane? Wow, that's horrible. Tried calling a doctor's coast of Virginia, without an Air Force base, but there's no word in. Well, I think all the bases and stuff, they've all went other places, haven't they, because of it? I know they evacuated families, because I have a friend on my Facebook who's, her husband is in the military, and they evacuated too. They decided to stay, but most of their area evacuated. Just in case, I guess. It wasn't supposed to get worse till today or tonight, I think. Well, yeah, I'd be worried too. I mean, it's your kid. Well, hopefully you hear something that they're okay. Have you tried cell phones, or is cell phones not working because of the storms? I mean, I know when we have monsoons, our internet and Wi-Fi and stuff don't work very well. Sometimes we have power outages too. Well, I pray that everybody will be okay, and everyone involved is going to be okay. So, I'm going to get back to this and finish this last square, and then I'll probably get off of here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did move them out, because, like I said, with my friends on Facebook, like I said, that's all I see is Facebook feeds and or Instagram or any of those kind of things, and then the Weather Channel thing. So that's the only reason why I'm asking the world out there who watches me, because I know a lot of you guys that watch me are in a lot of states, and a lot of you are in East Coast states. So um, I'm just worried. I don't want anything bad to happen to anyone, or you know, anybody to lose their homes and stuff. It's so sad when people lose their homes. Anybody loses their homes. So my neighbor did last year. So, and they're rebuilding now. So I know what it's like to watch disaster happen at the blink of an eye. And hurricanes and tornadoes right now in America is definitely a blink of an eye situation. So I think I'm just gonna do swirls, by the way, in the block, like a swirl into the swirl, swirl out of the swirl. Just simple swirls, but I'm gonna do them smaller. And then I'm going to echo around it. I'm going to adjust this a little and myself. Yep, that is a very hard to get past life that I've been through. And when they say quilting is therapy, it's not just for my MS. It's not just for anxiety. It's not just for PTSD. It's for my overall well-being. If I didn't have quilting, I would probably be one crazy mama. Like, super crazy. Like, my kid wouldn't even have boyfriends or girlfriends. That's how crazy I would be. But I had to let go of it sometime or another. So this has brought me back to the bubbly Tiffany that was always before tragedy in my family happened, that turned into a lifelong battle with the feelings of specific things. Every time I read about a situation like that, I want to go load a gun and take care of it myself for these people, because these children, there's just a court putting people in jail. I mean, what else? Especially when the situation was like mine, where I witnessed it. I walked in on it. I tried to stop it. There's nobody to help things like that. Counseling doesn't help forever. I mean, my daughter's 19 years old. She went counseling until 2 years ago. That's a long time to go to counseling. So, I mean, and then the reason she does it now is because there's no insurance. So, I mean, it was covered at one point in time. So, Mothman. I'm trying to think of what movie you're talking about in West Virginia. So you're getting stormed, though, where you live? Or is it, like, other areas? I know I have a friend that's there. This is why I wanted to teach it, because I wanted to teach other people with similar issues, with depression, people with MS. I wanted to invite a bunch of people, set up tables in my garage, and teach veterans. Keep them from drinking. It helps everything. Alcoholics, getting off of tons of medications. People don't need SSRIs. They need a JUKI, you know what I mean? They need a brother. They need a baby lock, a genome, a singer. They need that. They don't need, you know, some of these diseases, disorders, and these doctors just passing medication. Well, why don't you give them a pack of, like a jelly roll, some thread, and a sewing, and watch what happens. Like, some people don't understand what this actually helps with, and that's where bringing it back and teaching, for me, is going to help others, I'm hoping, you know. Well, hopefully everything will be good for you, Gigi. I'm going to quilt while talking. It's hard to see the phone, but... The 6 degree. Hi, Michelle. Are you at your sew-in that you went to? Ah! Hopefully, just send him a text or leave a voice message and see what happens, you know? I wouldn't stay up completely the whole night through worrying. I mean, you gotta or just start quilting. Do something. Maybe that'll take your mind off of it until somebody calls and lets you know that everything's okay. thing. How's free motion quilting here? I thought I would change it up so I didn't have to work on my blocks. So I did a circle, or a swirl, came out, stopped, came back around it, put a little tip, and now I'm just coming back around and I'm going to start another swirl in the opposite direction in a second. So I'm just going to make a bigger one, come in a few times, pop my way back out. I'm going to follow it around till I can't go any further. And I'm going to make an arc right here where it comes to a point, and then I'm going to come back around. And I'm sorry if my feed is slow and catching up. And I'm going to come around here and echo out and around. I'm going to come in here with a small swirl. Trying to keep it like the foot length. I'm going to echo this line, come up, down. Yeah, sometimes texts go through. Definitely try texting. And I'm sure if anything, you'll know through the news even, because Air Force or anything, Army, the Marines, all of it, they somehow through the news that they were shipped off or out somewhere to help with Red Cross even. I mean, I know a lot of those, some of the military go out and help Red Cross and things like that, so bring water and get people to safety and use big trucks or whatever else they can, and disaster relief programs, you know. Who, my kid? Are you talking, who are you talking to? Diane? How many children now? Alright, let me finish my little swirls here. I'll put a little big one right here. They're kind of ranging in sizes. And I'm going to bounce around. I'm going to stop right this one, and I'm going to bring another swirl a different way. Swirl it in. Come out. And I'm going to take it down this long piece. Come up. Go around. So this one kind of looks like a hook swirl. No, not a hook swirl, but I don't know. It looks like something. I'm going to throw another little one right here. Come all the way around. Nope. Bad people suck. I don't know what they get out of it either. Besides, a lifetime sentence in prison. Well, for those that get life. For those that didn't get life, obviously they get a lifetime or years of being butt raped, I guess. So I said that out loud. One can only hope that bad things are happening, I guess. Sometimes. It's not good to hope that kind of stuff, but if I was to hope it on anyone, it would be that specific person. Right now I'm just kind of echoing all these swirls. Coming in, out. Yeah, I have a feeling with my 4 kids, I'm going to end up like Michelle with lots of grandkids. And especially, I have a feeling that they're all going to be bringing it here, and I'm never going to get out of daycare. Like, I was hoping that the quilting would take off so that I wouldn't have to do as much, which doesn't bother me. I love the girls that we babysat. They've been with us since they were newborns, you know. But it's nice to be able to have a day off here and there, too. So I was hoping the quilting would take off and allow us to have more free time, but so far that hasn't happened. Yep. The quilting helps take your mind off of anything, and even watching it. Like, I watch a lot. I'm telling you guys, I've told you this a bazillion times in a bazillion of my videos. I am a YouTube-aholic. Like, my TV doesn't have YouTube anymore. For some reason, it stopped working on my television. The link is there, but it doesn't load. But on my tablet and my phone, I'm a smoker, so every time I go smoke, I watch YouTube videos. When I'm laying in bed, I watch YouTube videos. When I'm laying in the living room and the family's watching a movie that I don't seem to find or we're watching the same Disney cartoons over and over again, I'll watch videos. And it's always, I don't watch just quilting. I do watch a lot of other stuff on YouTube, but my main go-to videos are quilting videos. And I think I've watched them all so much that my red line is through them all saying watched on everything. Oh, how cute, My Little Pony. I got My Little Pony material, too, in my stuff. You guys can also find me as well on Facebook. I'm on it quite often. Michelle knows that. She's Michelle. Michelle and I talk a lot. She's my middle of the night talk person. So when I can't sleep, and she obviously can't sleep either, we just talk and talk and talk. And we work on things too, but we also do just a lot of regular, random chit-chat, late-night conversations. She's had a personal tour of my whole house, my whole sewing room, my whole bedroom, my whole... We've also come to the conclusion on things together. She knows a couple of my gonna be happening sooner or later YouTube video ideas. We've become that kind of close. Yep, that's right. Yeah, Gigi, just try on the pot holders. Not that hard. Like, as you can see, talking and doing it at the same time is kind of hard. If you guys were here in person, I'd be able to keep going. So I look at the screen, like, describing things. Of course, if I'm doing it, I'm describing. And I keep having to look at the screen and look at that screen and look here. So obviously it seems complicated, but it's not that hard. I mean, just take it and go. If you can draw on a piece of paper and make your lines okay, then you can do this. Definitely. Facebook is a lot of drama. My cousins and all sorts of people I've known over time have stopped using it, and they come back to it, check on everybody for a while, and then they stop using it, and then they come back to it. Up and down thing. My Facebook. Something I can't pay attention to, guys, so hold on a second. I have to plug this in, and then I'm gonna make it quick to get off here. I can't see if the darn thing is dying or not, so I'm very sorry about that. Froze pausedness for a moment. There we go. Alright, this is the first time I've been on a pretty long time. Conversations and chit chats tonight, guys. Barely getting any work done. Alright, you guys still there? I can't see anything just yet. Hold on 2 seconds. Okay. So, where is it? Let's see. Where were we? Where am I, Diane? She's tough. Yes, I'm tough. Can't blame you, WG. Often I used to. Let's see. You're the name in there somewhere. What am I wondering about? What are you wondering about that I'm gonna do, Diane? I don't know where I was. I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was not in the feed until I saw that this was loading. So, further the same question. Law is strong enough. I think should be on that death penalty because they could have lived with it. Yes, definitely. Yep. So, yeah. Diane, tell me what you're talking about when it comes to something I said, I guess. I have to end the feed soon, but let me see how far I am with my swirls. There's much to go. I'm going to stay on long enough to finish these swirls real quick. And then you guys can tell me where we are, what we're talking about, obviously. Alright. Then I put my glove back on, because my needle is still down. I didn't know I had died out. Again, make sure your quilt is on your lap or it's going to pull and tug. I'm going to try to get this. Trying to keep them consistent, but I'm losing myself because I'm Bonnie Hunter's always on the go teaching all over the USA. I don't think I'm going to get that far. I wouldn't mind teaching a class here locally, and then if my YouTube gets better, and then I have better camera equipment and stuff, maybe teaching better like that. Maybe like even as good as like Jordan Fabrics or Missouri Star Quilt Company, you know, getting like that where I can actually have some kind of everything is around something and I can edit videos better, then that would be awesome. I wouldn't be like some of the people that say, well, follow me on my whatever page, so, and that you have to pay for. Like, I don't think I would do that. I think I would keep it the way it is now. Free to learn, you know? I'm attempting to like make these half-ass decent. Oops, I said a bad word. Halfway decent. Speed it up just a little. Come back up in here, finish my echoing. Add another swirl right here. Notice I have it really speeded up. This is making my stitches quite small. Well, not too small. They're consistently the same size. How's that? other than the swirls. The swirls are all a different size. They're not the same. They're kind of like escalating to from big to small. It's kind of cool actually. Alright, I'm going to finish this off and then I'll show you guys. What I do is I just pull it out of the way after I lift the presser foot, and I drop the needle down to pull it up. And then it pulls that bottom thread up to the top, which is all I need to do. Alright. Thank you for coming, Gigi. Yeah, I'm very happy to be able to help anybody learn anything new. So I'm sorry that we can't see it close, but I'm working on it when I get my new camera. So, but thank you. Good night. You have a good night. And try to get some sleep. Yeah, it would be awesome to have you come sew with me, Diane. I would love to have the company, and I'm pretty sure my husband wouldn't care because it's keeping me busy and occupied, and it helps with my insomnia, obviously, as well. So it gives me something to do so that I'm not, well, technically I'm on media devices, but I'm actually teaching with my media devices, so it's different than just watching movies all night long, which is something I would probably end up doing, you know, over and over, and it just gets boring. So I like my sewing. So, okay, I'm going to show you my swirls that I just did, and then I will sign off. Only because this device died, and I didn't expect it to die, you know what I mean? So there's my swirlies. They're all different sizes. So there's some big ones and some small ones. And they echo and swirl 2 different ways. I managed to do that while talking and pausing and talking and pausing. So I'll put this back up here so that I can say bye. Let's see if anybody's saying anything. So, alright, Diane, and I don't know if Michelle is still on here because I haven't seen, and I just looked at the screen, but I should have saw how many were, I don't know. I don't know what I was saying or what I was doing. I got confused because my thing died. So anyway, my normal thing, like and subscribe if you want to see more videos of Tiffany's quilting life. I'm here randomly whenever. This description down below has the links to all my everything, social media, my Etsy shop, and social media. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit. Sorry that I couldn't show anybody directly, but I did show you what I did. This is pretty much a watch how it works kind of tutorial, honestly. Watch how the hands move, how it works with moving things under the machine. So I'm totally, yeah, I'm totally just explaining as I go in best detail as possible. And we had a wonderful conversation throughout this. So for those of you that are watching my replay, yes, a lot of things happened in my life. Don't be sorry for me, please. Shit happens. And I did say that out loud. Shit happens. Quilting is 100% been my therapy through everything. I've been through a lot. A lot of people have been through a lot. A lot of people have been through similar situations as I. So please don't feel sorry for me. And you pray for me to get I really need to get better. I'm tired of feeling sick. So this is why I swapped projects, because if you see my big mess disaster of 4 patches, disappearing 4 patches, it's an outrageous mess right now. So this is a good break to show free motion quilting. So Diane, I'm going to get out of here since you're the one watching right now. I don't know if anyone else is. So I thank everyone. Like and subscribe and tune in for next time. Just watch out, and I'll be on again probably with more disappearing 4 patch videos. So Good night. Get some rest, everyone, and be safe for all those that are in the hurricane area. Please, I pray that you guys are safe and somewhere dry. Because I know hurricanes, a lot of wet weather. And those that are in tornado areas right now, I did also read about the tornadoes, so please be safe, okay? I know you guys have sirens or something that goes off if there's a tornado, so that's a positive, I guess, if it happens in the middle of the night. So just stay safe, and if anyone needs to let me know what's going on, that'd be great. Just leave it in the comment box below. I always respond. Good night, Diane, and everybody else, obviously. Thank you for watching. Bye.